What's up, Clashers? Welcome back. I've been away for a little while now because I broke my phone and it was very badly damaged, but I finally repaired it a couple of days ago by following a video on YouTube actually on how to replace the screen, and it worked out perfectly. I've been gathering a lot of material for upcoming videos because for the last month or so I've been in Galadon's clan full night attack, which has been absolutely awesome and a very good learning experience. So the next 3 or so videos, including this one, will be a little bit more specific on how to beat some high-end bases used by top players in the world, because lately I've been hanging around the top 100 global, even as far down as top 40 this season. And previously I used to specify how far up the trophies these strategies could take you, but I realized that isn't always entirely accurate because it all depends on how far into the season we are and how much the collective builder-based community has pushed that specific season. Also, for me to reach top 40 in the world, I obviously had to use several different strategies depending on what my opponent's base looked like, though I intend to share every single strategy I used. One more very important thing I want to share before we begin with the Mitch composition and strategy is base building. Before you ask me about how well my base is doing and if you can copy it, I have gotten most of my bases from a friend of mine in the Full Night Attack clan. His name is Flo, and he is the most talented base builder I have come across so far. Many top players are using his bases or variations of them. And the good news is that Flo has recently started a YouTube channel sharing his great knowledge, so I'll put a link to his channel in the description. I've tried a couple of different Mitch compositions but found that the most effective one has been 3 camps of witches and 2 camps of minions. In this video I will show you which bases you can use this strategy on, what to look for, and an extremely simple way to deploy the army following just a few easy steps and rules. As you probably already know, however you deploy or use your battle machine in these attacks, it will not stay up for very long. So we simply use it as a distraction for one or both of 2 key defenses, the multi-mortar and the roaster, trying to always deploy it so that it won't be within the giant cannon's range. Here's a very simple version of the strategy. First thing you have to do is to identify the deployment side. For this strategy, I usually pick bases where I can attack against a fairly exposed air bomb, and preferably if that side is a long way from the edge. I begin by deploying the witches well spread out along that side, beginning in the corners, and then once their initial bats have cleared that side from any potential air traps, I deploy the minions along the same side as well spread out as possible and try to save 1 to 3 minions for later use. I choose a path for the battle machine to reach and distract the roaster if possible. Even if it's only for a few seconds, it is worth it. Because eventually what you want is for this army to overwhelm the base's defenses, and the most difficult defense to overwhelm with this composition is the roaster. Here is where you can use the extra minions that you saved up to help kill the roaster, or if you don't think you will 3-star, then you can also use them at the very end to pick off some extra percentage, which can be a matter of win or lose depending on how well your own base defended. But keep in mind that these extra minions can be used to help your army get rid of some dangerous defenses and help to get that 3-star if these defenses are exposed during the attack. Also, the higher level wall your opponent has, the better for you, because this will actually help keep your witches at a safe distance while they continuously spawn their bats. Sometimes you'll notice that there are some unprotected buildings in front of the base that you can remove with only a few minions before the actual attack. This is something I think you should always try to do if you can get away with it. Like in this base, you'll see I can actually remove all 4 of these army camps with only 2 minions. And to do this, just look at the nearby defense buildings and try to estimate their range, and then deploy your minions outside of that range. I left the 5th army camp because that is where I will send my battle machine anyway. When clearing these army camps, we actually let the initial long-range shot from the minions be used on much more important buildings, giving the attack a much better start and increasing the momentum so that the army then lasts longer. This time I didn't actually think my battle machine would reach the roaster to distract it because it was in the very center of the base and also very close to the giant cannon. But at least it could be used to distract the mortar for a short while and some other buildings before it died, which is always useful. I also decided to deploy my extra minion to help kill the air bombs, which I sometimes do if I suspect it will cause a problem for my minions. I think in this particular attack it wasn't actually necessary, but it is a relatively important building to keep track of after you've deployed your army, just to see if it is indeed being distracted by the bats or if it is about to target your minions. And better safe than sorry, right? So if you feel it's necessary, use your extra minion to make sure it goes down quickly. As you can see here, all my witches eventually died, but since all the air targeting defenses were destroyed and there were so many minions and bats left, even a surprise air trap wouldn't have stopped them from 3-starring this base. Here's another base which is a perfect example on how much it helps your Mitch attacks when going against maxed walls. They will help stall your witches and keep them at a safe distance for a good long while their bats continue to distract defenses and help destroy buildings. This is also one of the reasons you don't want to deploy your witches all in the same spot or even close to each other, because then hopefully they will get stuck on different wall pieces and take longer to break through them. As you can see here, 3 of the witches will now get stuck on the wall and out of range from that giant cannon for such a long time that the giant cannon won't even be able to fire a single shot. Their bats will then tank the roaster long enough to help the minions take it out, and once it is down, then the remaining army will still be strong enough to overwhelm the rest of the defenses and 3-star the base. And while we're on the subject of walls, I don't want to forget to mention one important thing to look out for. If the side of the base where you intend to begin your attack from doesn't have a wall that completely encloses the base, not counting outside buildings, then it can be very dangerous to use this army, as one of the main reasons this strategy works so well is because of the enclosed wall that makes your witches stay out of harm's way for a long time. So if you're faced with such a base, then refer to other strategies. It can sometimes still work, but chances are the witches will walk too close to ground defenses and die quickly. Here's one more base I wanted to show you when attacking from a close edge. This can potentially be very hazardous, but it also has some advantages. Here you are less likely to encounter traps set to ground, but your witches will quickly be exposed to ground defenses and they will not have spawned enough bats to easily overwhelm the entry side. This is why, if you want to do this, then you have to take extra care on aiming your minions. Send out a good portion of the minions as usual, but then use the rest to try to manually aim them for the important defenses. Preferably the defenses that can harm your witches, but of course also to really make sure the air bombs go down quickly. Here, the battle machine did distract the roaster for quite some time, which was very helpful, but then when it died, I waited until the roaster was exposed and then sent out my remaining 3 minions to help destroy the roaster as quickly as possible. Because once that is destroyed, the base's air defense had been so crippled that the remaining Tesla and firecrackers were no match for the surviving army, which then quickly 3-starred the base. One last thing I want to show you that you can sometimes do is if you see a base like this one where you think the witches will gain a few more seconds of spawning bats from a safe distance, by shifting your deployment ever so slightly towards the opposite corner of the base, then you can do that, because those extra seconds do make a difference. But keep in mind that they still have to be well spread out in order for this to work. I think that pretty much covered everything I wanted to tell you about this strategy. Every single replay in this video are from attacks done in the top 300 global and on some very common base designs. But as I said before, if you want to push to this level, then you'll need more than one strategy in case you run into bases where Mitch isn't possible. The next strategy video I'm making will be on either Bomb Arch, which is made of bombers, barbarians and archers, or Barbomber Cart, which consists of barbarians, bombers and cannon carts. These are 2 compositions which together can be used to very great effect on any base out there really. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting and informative, and as always, if you have any questions about the video or upcoming projects, let me know in the comment section. I'm here for you. Also, don't forget to check Flow Clash. Be patient because this channel is completely new, but I have a good feeling we will see some real quality strategies and base designs there. I'm sorry it took so long to make this video, but I really hope you liked it, and thank you for watching.